How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Reagan Harrell, very average punter at Weber International back in the day. That's an All-American shortstop, though, from Midland University. That is Carly Fitzer. Carly, we have got a fantastic episode for the people to send them into an incredible weekend of NAIA softball. We got just a great one. I mean, just a great interview that's going to send y'all into the weekend from Miami Gardens St. Thomas Bobcats head coach JC Gutierrez talks about his experience transitioning over from baseball, where he helped as the assistant head coach for the Bobcats baseball team, reach Lewiston twice and almost bring the red banner to Miami Gardens, which he's trying to do this year with his just absolute stud of a player, Anna Toon, getting it done in the circle at the plate. Carly, phenomenal interview out of the folks from Miami Gardens.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then before that, though, we have got our reaction to the second NAI softball coaches top 25 poll. Hence why there's a pitchfork behind me. We'll get into that here in a minute. We'll also get a quick midweek recap that highlighted some top 10 and top 25 showdowns. And again, it's a big rivalry week in NAI softball. We'll get into that, of course. Oklahoma City, USAO, Northwestern, Midland, British Columbia, College of Idaho. Some really good matchups. But Carly, let's talk about it first. Why do I have this here, ladies and gentlemen? I'm ready to
The
riot.
elephant in the room.
I'm ready to riot. So we're about the same. Not exactly. I didn't have to pull out a pitchfork last year, but I did say last year that if Madonna wasn't a top 25 team, I would riot. That got rectified. I got to pull out the pitchfork. I am rioting. I am protest. Joking, obviously. I need to get this nasty thing back in the garage, honestly. But seriously, Eastern Oregon's not in the top 10 again. And Carly, it's just insane. I mean, it is just
Yeah.
insane. They go and beat British Columbia. They take three from British Columbia. I don't know. I mean, maybe
Three
this
tough
is
games.
three tough games against a top 10 pitching duo in NAI softball. I do see I guess British Columbia is getting some respect. They get a whopping three receiving votes. Ridiculous. I mean, crazy on that end. I don't know how many times I got to say it. The Cascade has got some great teams in it this year. College of Idaho and uh, British Columbia. That's the fourth and fifth best team. This weekend will decide who's 4 and 5 in that conference. Carly, there's not a number four team in any conference taking two or three from whoever we decide that fourth best team is after this weekend, and there's
Hmm.
not a fifth best team. I got no argument there. There, I've got a serious problem though with Eastern Oregon not being in the top 10. And again, I I think College of Idaho, after last weekend, they earned their way in the top 25, no doubt. 20, maybe a little high. That's fine. Eastern Oregon's a top 10 team. You can't tell me they don't belong there on paper. If I get if you're not watching the games, I get you're not keeping up with it. It's fine, but it's wrong. It's really wrong. And I'm not going to break down the resume of top 10 teams right now because they all have phenomenal ones. But some of the math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing, Carly. And then the other one, what OLLU do to drop? I don't know. Carly, I don't know what Our Lady of the Lake, the defending national champion who just went to USAO and split. I get y'all. Nobody needs to explain to me in the comments that those games did not count. I know that, but what
But
they
you
do
looked
to
a little
drop?
silly after they happened.
You do look. It does look a little silly, Carly. It's crazy. And then you look at what's ahead of them, and I'm like, what resume do they have to rectify being over the team that started number one in the country? It's crazy. It's bad.
Diabolical.
It's bad. Like I said, I said 2 weeks ago there was three coaches polls I disagreed with. The first one this year, the first one last year, the first one 2 years ago. I'm coming into this one. I'm not happy. I'm a little more calmed down, but I don't get how you have OLLU dropping for no good reason. Like I don't see any good reason for OLLU dropping here. But then Oklahoma City, all due respect, they split with Mid American Christian, who's not even sniffing a receiving vote, and they stay at the same spot. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Central Methodist moves up 2 spots. Okay, Not really sure why, but okay. Northwestern drops. I get that. Should they have dropped a little bit more? Fine. Georgia Gwinnett dropped. Fine. I guess that's the explanation for Cumberland's jumping them. I get why Cumberland jumps Oklahoma City, Northwestern, and Gwinnett. I don't get why OLLU doesn't do the exact same as they should. And LSU A, I don't have a problem with LSU A being number nine, Carly, but as we were talking, I got a problem with it being ranked ahead of our Lady of the Lake. I get you beat them in the conference tournament. Congratulations. That's awesome. You had over 50% of their losses handed to them last year. But,
Keywords last year.
and I mean, keyword last year is why OLLU, they don't have Cassie Valdez. Hey, we get that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still pretty
They got
good.
Ava Hernandez, Grace
Yeah,
Ross.
yeah, Lily Rocha. I mean, they've got some names. Um, right at the top, I'm not really surprised Eastern Oregon's not in the top 10. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't surprised. I'm upset about it, but I'm not surprised. You go and take three from a really good British Columbia team, you only move up one spot. Okay. Marion at 11, I don't know about that. Madonna at 12, fine. I do like Southeastern moving up in the rankings, think that's
Yep.
correct. Do think Indiana Wesleyan going back up to 15 is good after they had a really strong start. I don't. What Mobap do? What Mobap do? And like, why aren't they ahead of all of these teams? Missouri Baptist, Carly, coming in at 18 and 4. 18
Hmm.
and 4 on the year. Let's go over it. Beat Oklahoma City. Pretty daggum good win there. Lose
Yep.
2-0 to USAO to neutral site. Fine. Split technically not split. Play Friday, Saturday, lose one, win one against Our Lady of the Lake. And again, dropping OLLU, I don't get it. And I don't play this game, but if you want to look at it, you kind of give advantage. OLLU because one game's 9-8, one game's 9-0. I'll look at wins and losses though. They get a win against Midland, who's number 21 in this. No, where are they at in this one, Carly?
Um,
23.
23.
23. Okay. Bellevue, who is just top 25. Friends should be ranked. Maybe. Eh. Friends could be ranked. They'll be ranked in the next one.
Sniffing
Just
it.
watch. They're sniffing it. Benedictine beat them twice, who's number 26, their first team out. And then again, I don't play this game. They split with Central Methodist. If 6-5 and 12 nothing, they obviously we already talked about this, but Mobap 6-5, Central Methodist 12 nothing. Talked about that last episode. If that's your rationale for dropping them and looking over what they've done. So over this body of work, they beat Benedictine twice. Good team. Really good team. St. Francis, solid team. Beat them handily 11-0 and 4-0. We're dropping them for splitting with who the coaches voted the numbers, or the Raiders voted the number 6 team, Central Methodist. Carly, the NAIA SB media slash Massey poll will be coming out on Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning. I got one more for you. I'm gonna keep finding these. I'm gonna keep trying to find these little tidbits. This little Team A versus Team B scenario is nowhere near as strong as 2 weeks ago. Where I mean, if you disagreed with that one,
You're crazy.
you're crazy. When we broke down College of Idaho and St. Xavier last week, today we break down Team A and Team B. This one I'm not as passionate about, but numbers are not lying here. We have Team A, who is in the top 25 at 17-9 at the time of voting, with two top 25 wins, as according to this coach's poll, the recent one that just came out on Wednesday, the 19th. This wins against number 22 and number 14. 7 of their 9 losses came from teams outside of the top 25. Two quality losses, if you count those. It's
If you're into
fine.
that,
Yeah, if you're into that thing, good for you. Team B, okay, they're 13-5, so obviously a much smaller sample size, but still 13-5. And 2 of those 13 wins are against the number 4 team in this edition of the coaches poll. And one of the losses was that team, 3 losses to non-top 25 teams. I will say those 3 losses are not good ones by any stretch of the imaginations. Then they have 2 losses, one to number 4. They took 2 or 3 from number 4, and they lost another one to number 8. I don't know about you, Carly. I'm personally putting Team B over Team A. You, I mean, your alma mater's Team A. It's Midland.
yeah.
I thought Team B, by the way, is Rio Grande. It's the Rio Grande Red Storm. I thought coming into this, there were going to be three spots um, that would have opened up in the NAIA softball coaches poll. There is no doubt to me that Bellevue was dropping out. If they were at
Hmm.
25, right around 500. I thought it would be Midland dropping. I thought Midland and Benedictine were those two kind of bubble teams. I thought both were going to drop. Did not have Midland staying in. Credit to them for staying in. I don't have a problem with it really, because when you really look at it, you got Midland, Evangel, Campbellsville, Benedictine, and then you have Texarkana, Embry-Riddle. Then you get to Rio Grande. You can make an argument for Texarkana too. They're 21 and
Good.
5. Yeah. I think a big one for Texarkana, big thing that hurt. The reason Texarkana is not ranked, Carly, is that game got canned against Southeastern. They play that
Yep.
Southeastern game, get a win against Southeastern, and then they're not in the top 25. I got a real problem. Now, Texarkana is a top 25 team. I think Texarkana, Embry Riddle, or Rio Grande, either any of those three could have replaced Midland, and I would have signed off on it. A College of Idaho has over the last 2 weeks has 100% played their way into being a top 25 team. I really don't have any problems outside of that. Could you slide Mobile out? I wouldn't, because they played
No, I wouldn't
probably,
either.
yeah, I mean, they played an insane schedule. Campbellsville, could you make the argument for putting Embry Riddle or Texarkana or Rio Grande in? Maybe, but they're also the only reason Southern Oregon isn't undefeated right now. So you
Yep.
can't do that
Yep.
at all. And they've got some other nice quality wins in there. But yeah, I mean, for me, again, circle back in. Eastern Oregon's a top 10 team. How do you drop OLLU? Missouri Baptist not in the top 15 at least. I get you don't want to give me top 10, whatever. Top 15, you lost me. Completely have lost me. I mean, they don't have a bad loss. Like Missouri Baptist does not
No.
like, okay, they have blowout losses. I'll give you
Right.
that. I'll concede that
But
to
in
you.
double headers that they split.
Bingo. Yeah, no, I mean, these are all top 20 losses, right? What was the fourth one? USAO.
Hmm.
I mean, get out. Get out. Get out.
Get
Just
real.
get real. Get real. And then they got the win. They'll say, oh, well, they play them. They beat Oklahoma City. They beat OLLU. Beat Midland.
Central Methodist.
Whatever. Let's talk some softball. Let's talk softball. Carly, we had just some absolutely phenomenal top 25 midweek showdowns that did not disappoint. All four of these games were epic. We talked about them being epic. You better have watched if you were able to across the NAIA softball world. Carly, let's get into it. Let's start with LSU A, who in the Massey rating is now number 3 in the
Yeah.
NAIA softball
Yeah.
world. And the large part of that is they just took two from a team that gave them one of their very few losses this year. And William Carey, two absolute thrillers, two pretty different ball games, though.
Yeah. Number one, like you said, two different ball games. Kind of your favorite pitchers duel. Final score of 2-1 in 8 innings. Haley Primrose was the pitcher that came out on top. She was an absolute dog this game. She moved to 13-2 on the season. Had a complete game. She had just one run on 4 hits and struck out 10. And then Julie Quackernack getting it done at the plate, going 2 for 4 with two doubles and an RBI. And then Maddie Baker would hit the go-ahead RBI in the 8th inning. And then flip for game two, a little bit more of the offensive kind of side, 13-11. LSUA would jump out to a 6-0 lead. William Carey would tie it at 8 with a 5-run 5th inning. And then from then on, LSUA would just keep adding to it. William Carey did have an uncharacteristic 5 errors, but Julie Quackernack again had a double and 3 RBIs for her. Caitlin Dunbar was 2 for 5 with a double and 2 RBIs. And then Haley Primrose got the win in the circle. She went 2 1/3, giving up just 5 hits and 3 earned runs.
Yeah, very weird game too there. That's not one we expect to see from William Carey or LSUA. Now both have the firepower to do it, but mostly on the error side of things for both teams. Kicked it around the ballpark. Pretty
Yep.
uncharacteristic for both sides there. Big 5-run 5th inning. Stop me if you heard this from before. We had a controversial obstruction call in an NAIA softball game. That overturned a call that kind of led to a big inning, but still, William Carey was staying right there with them. Phenomenal doubleheader there. But Carly, I'd be lying if I said I watched too much of it because my eyes were on a top 10 showdown in
Yup.
Chickasha, Oklahoma. OLLU and USAO, they have seen each other a pretty good bit over the last few years. Of course, just showing down and showing up in Columbus, Georgia, and it was a postseason atmosphere once again in Chickasha. Bottom of the first, Kenzie Williams would drive in Malia McMurtry with a single up the middle. It was 1-0 all the way to the fifth inning when USAO would have Williams and McMurtry combine again to make it 2-0. You get 2-0, and you're heading into the sixth inning with Sophie Williams. You like your chances,
That's
but
all you
there
need.
is usually all you need. But this is an Our Lady of the Lake lineup that is top 10 worthy, top five worthy. If you ask me, you know, find it. The coach, you know what? The media Massey Pulse coming out in a week. Don't worry about it. Yazina Perez solo shot, cut it in half in the sixth. That's why my eyebrow went up. I was like, interesting. But they get it. OLLU would get a couple more runners on, start a threat, but Williams gets out of it. And then in the seventh, she walks the first batter. Williams cruising. After that, she gets them down to their last strike. But then he's a national championship coach for a reason. Coach Bruce Lennington goes to
Yep.
the bench and calls on her Lily Rocha, who blasts one over the center field wall, making it 3-2. Then Ava Hernandez would come out in the seventh inning, picking up her 13th win to tie her with Ayla Davies and Anna Toon for the league leaders in that category. She finishes the day with 7 innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 earned run. It's a really talented USAO lineup that would show up in game two in a big way. Carly, the Drovers would salvage the home split, winning game two 6-5. OLLU would take Page out of USAO's book and say, "Hey, let's maybe start scoring a little bit early in this one." Kayla Rogers RBI single would make it 1-0, but in the fourth inning it would be a four-spot. In the third inning, the Drovers would put up a four-spot highlighted by a two RBI single from Leanne Eaton. The catcher's been phenomenal for them. We'll be talking about her in a little bit when we break down this USAO Oklahoma City game. Rocha again, Drover pitch. Not many bats can give the Drover pitching staff nightmares, but Rocha would definitely be in their thoughts and prayers for the remainder of the year after that one. She stepped up in the fourth inning, big two RBI double and then a Salas sac fly in the next inning would tie it at 4. But then when the clutchest players in NAIA softball and
Yep.
a name that I'm about to throw out in a big way here in a little bit, Sierra Selfridge would have the deciding two-run home run in the sixth inning. It would be Aubrey Ferguson, aka Breezy. Remember the name, the freshman for the Drovers, and Jaden Anderson, the sophomore, combining in the circle. It is, obviously Sophie Williams going to be a large hole to fill for the Drovers, but when you got Fergie, you got
Yeah.
JJ, they're going to be fine.
They got Fergie Ferg.
Carly, we had a third phenomenal one. Game one wasn't quite as close, but game two was a great one. Talk to us about Madonna and Saint Xavier.
Yeah, so Madonna and St. Xavier split. Game one, pretty much all Madonna. They take this one 9-3. They were propelled by a big 5-run fourth inning. They were led by Ella Thomas going 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs, and then Bryn Anto going a perfect 3 for 3 at the plate with an RBI of her own. Camille Oyer got the complete game win for her 8 hits, 3 earned runs, striking out 3. And then, like you mentioned a little bit earlier, game two, phenomenal game. St. X would come out on top 5-4. They scored 2 in the top of the seventh to pull ahead. Madonna was able to get one back, but they fall just short, giving St. X the win 5-4. Mallory O'Connor 2 for 2 with an RBI and a walk. Emily Bickett was 1 for 3 with a double and an RBI and a run score. And then Peyton Ankowitz, complete game, 9 hit, 4 earned run performance in their big win over Madonna.
Huge. Yeah, huge split for St. Xavier, knowing that they're wanting to stack up those high quality wins as they're getting ready for conference play. They won't be playing as many top 25 opponents, so another nice win for the Cougars. Northwestern, I just wanted a couple of fun ones. So let's start
Yeah,
throwing
yeah, couple
throwing a
bangers.
Yeah, a couple fun games we saw in the early part of the week. Northwestern beats Doan in a 6-5 thriller. The Red Raiders led 3-0 until the sixth inning when an error and Jaron Allen's bases clearing triple would give the Tigers a 4-3 lead. They would add another on an RBI single, making it 5-3 heading into the seventh. Chloe Gallegos would reach on a fielder's choice for Northwestern, and then an error would cut the deficit in half before Maddie Vatek's game-winning two RBI single. Northwestern would take that one 6-5, but Carly certainly saved I probably still got to give that
Yeah,
nod. Still got to give the nod probably to that 3-2 OLLU USAO game. I mean, both the OLLU USAO games were phenomenal. But if
yeah.
there was another one that took game of the week, all of it Nazarene and Clark. What a game that was.
Yeah, and shout out to Clark for their late effort. In the seventh, they would score four to tie it. Clark would load the bases with one out. Lauren Heffel would sac fly to score a run. Another walk would load the bases again. And then Teal Transberg would single to left field, brought them within two. Throwing error on a wild pitch. Next thing you know, we got tie ball game. Head to the bottom of the eighth. Sack bunt would move the runner to third base, and with two outs, Stephanie House for Olivet Nazarene would call ball game. Hits a walk-off RBI single. She would finish the day a perfect 4 for 4 at the plate. She's got two doubles, a run, and that game-winning RBI. Allie Tim would get the win going an inning and a third. Gave up 0 hits, 0 earned runs, and striking out one. And then shout out to Jocelyn Nels for getting them through majority of the game, going 6 2/3, giving up only 3 earned runs and walking one.
Love it. All right, let's go ahead and get into our weekend preview, our Thursday through Sunday matchups. We'll talk to you about this first one on Thursday, and then we'll take a quick break, get Marsh set up for his matchup with USAO and Oklahoma City. But hey, how about a little Thursday evening doubleheader out of the AAC? Team we need to be keeping an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
It's official. Brunel, you can't hide anymore, folks. The Tigers out of Georgia. I'm officially keeping my eye on Brunel. I think Carly, this is the second best team behind Johnson in the AAC. Now they're gonna
Yeah.
have to prove it. They play a tough Tennessee Wesleyan Bulldogs team coming off a nice 2-1 victory over Georgia Gwinnett just a few days ago. Of course, you know the names for the Lady Bulldogs. Bailey Phillips has a 1.32 ERA in the circle. She's also batting 342, has 11 extra base hits. Courtney Sneed, another senior leader for Tennessee Wesleyan, batting 325. But Bree now, so here's the thing for about the Tigers. As the competition they played so far this year, the strongest? No, they definitely do not have one of the stronger strengths of schedule, but they still have a good record, sniffing around the top 25 with the receiving votes. They certainly have some numbers they're showing they can put it on teams lineup wise. Whitney Hulsey leads the nation with 41 RBI. She also has had 10 doubles and is batting 476. Peyton Hawkins is batting 457. She's walked 12 times and has 28 ribeye stakes. Top of that lineup, how about Ava Moon batting 507 with 21 stolen bases? Allie Busby, Dayton Power also batting over 340 as well. Dayton Power, 15 stolen bases and 18 RBIs. Where the successful life for Bree though, is in the circle. Mallory Watson, Emily Hall, they are dangerous. And if they are on, this is a very dangerous team that could sneak into some team as opening round. I want to say sneak into an opening round. I feel pretty confident saying Brunel will
Yeah.
be an opening round team this year, but they could absolutely sneak in as a 3 seed and beat a 2 seed in the opening round. Is kind of where I have them right now. Could see them going as high as getting a 2 seed, but we'll see how it all shakes out. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break and be right back with as we get Mars set up. Okay, we're back. Y'all know what time it is. Let's go, Marsh. There was never really a doubt what it was going to be this weekend. It was always going to be USAO and Oklahoma City. We're keeping it where we. This is an important one, so we're keeping it. Marsh, you see what's going on here, right? You see
Okay.
what's
Yeah.
happening, buddy. All right, here we go. It's pretty simple, folks. It's Oklahoma City. It's USAO. Ooh, you starting to favor one already? Don't be giving your picks away.
Oh,
Oh, dude. All right. So here we go. We're gonna flip it around. All right. So we're flipping it around. We're flipping it around. Here we go. All right.
right hand Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City, USAO. Marsh to go 7-0. Who we rocking with? Oh, wow.
Ooh, that was
Oh,
quick.
that was quick. He's been getting quick with them. And again, he changes it up. There you go. There you go. And again, he changes it up. He goes to the right hand again and go quickly. Here's how we're going to work this. 4 game set. If they split, it's a tie. I don't like it. He
Nothing you
doesn't
can do
like it.
about
It
it.
is what it is. Obviously, if USAO or Oklahoma City, or if USAO takes 3 or 4, he's 7-0. If Oklahoma City goes against it, Marsh moves to 6-1. Still impressive, but we want to keep that 7-0. All right, good job, dude. Carly, talk to us about some of the names we should be watching.
Yeah. So starting off on USAO side, we've talked a lot about them already so far, but we're going to dive into some of the numbers throughout the season yet. Sierra Selfridge, like you kind of alluded to a little bit earlier, player of the year candidate. She's got 6 home runs, 9 doubles, 31 RBIs, and is hitting 485 on the season. She's got a lot of power to her, like you said, extremely clutch in those moments that they need her most. Kinsey Williams batting a 472 with 16 swiped bags and RBIs. Leanne Eaton hitting a solid 403, 23 RBIs. And then we all know her, we all love her. Sophie Williams, 77 and 2/3 innings pitched this year. She's got a 1.16 ERA with 72 strikeouts. And then JJ Anderson and Breezy Ferguson are making USAO very deadly in these 4 game sets. It's nice when you can give Sophie Williams a rest. You still got 2 elite pitchers that can come in and get it done.
I'll take it over for the Stars because
Yep.
I've got we're not quite at the midway point, which by the way, midway point is coming up. I'll mention that after this, so we can. I'm adding that note. You see what I'm about? See that? See what I'm typing right there, Carly? That's what we got to talk about here in a second. But
Okay.
right now, we're talking about just the Stars, Oklahoma City Stars, and my current player of the year as we get close to that halfway mark. Carly, or at least if we're entering the second phase of the year. As we enter the second phase of the year, we leave behind the preseason. Oh, what a preseason it was. The NAIA
Mm-hmm.
SB Invitational, of course, the highlight of it. But right now, Tiffany Paul is the NAIA softball player of the year. Carly, she's batting 506. She's got a 1.542 OPS, 10 home runs, 7 doubles, 3 triples, 37 RBIs. Whew! I got my broadcaster voice a little bit there for Tiffany Paul. She has been phenomenal. And Carly, who is number 2 in Player of the Year voting right now in the
Yep.
Reagan Harrelmont? It is Annalise Rayburn. Rayburn, 518 batting average, of 4.162 OPS, 14 doubles, 6 long balls on the year. Now, is it top to bottom what that lineup was last year? No, not quite. Still missing a couple of those names. Lux, Garvey, just name a couple that's not there. Still a good lineup after them, but man, that right there's that's probably the 2 best hitters right now in NAI softball. Cannot wait to see that matchup with what we have said all year is the best pitching staff in NAI softball. And speaking of pitching staffs, Carly, they're going to need big weekends from Emerson Herron and Brindley Bishop. They going to need those 2 to step up and have some of their best performances of the year because if not, then the Sooner Athletic Conference is probably just about going to be wrapped up. Now, of course, there's going to be a bit for the regular season. Now, conference tournament time, we know obviously Oklahoma City was a 1 last year, USO was a 2, and USO won the tournament. So obviously that means nothing. But I think it's wrapped up. If
Yeah.
USAO goes to Oklahoma City, takes 3 or 4, I mean, Mackey is still more than alive, but other than that, I'm not seeing anybody else take it. And who knows? I
No.
mean, Mackey could absolutely is absolutely still in it, and you have to give them respect. Obviously phenomenal pitching for the Evangels, and yeah, can't count them out yet. But as I mentioned, and as somebody was saying, was he talking about this star for? Last year, Carly, one of my favorite things that we decided to do, I think if I remember, you actually kind of brought it up a little bit. I don't know if it was necessarily your idea. I can't remember, but I know you and I were definitely talking about it early on. The NAISB All Stars. It was a hit. It was some of the biggest engagement we have done, especially right here in the middle of the year that's coming up. We are going to do it a little bit differently. Last year, it was the wild, wild freaking West. Just let
Yeah.
just letting everybody. I mean, just letting everybody get after it, unlimited go, and it was fun. We're going to clean it up a little bit this year. So here's what's going to be happening next week. We are going to put out nominations. There will be there will be infield, outfield, pitching, and catching nominations. You'll put them in, throw them in there. Where if there no specific outfield position, no specific infield position. Obviously, pitching and catching is important, but get after it. And in fact, I don't even think we're going to do catching. I think it's just going to be infield, outfield pitchers,
Yep.
DPs, obviously. But that's how we're going to do it. And y'all are going to have 2 weeks to get the names in. You have 2 weeks to get them in. Once we get, I promise I will not add names after. I promise I'm not adding. So if you want your name or one of your teammates or one of your players or girlfriend or whatever, daughter, what if you want them in, get them in. It is free to go. You're good to go, but you got to get them in. The reason why we will take that list and then sort of my positions, just like we did last year, just a little bit more, go ahead and have this, have it organized. It's very important. We have it because we want it to be done well. We want it to be done right, but there is going to have to be participation because, like last year, our votes count as much as everybody else's in this.
Yep.
We got one ballot. Y'all are going to have one ballot. It's true all star. We are going to do it the exact same way. Also, as far as East West, Carly, that we're good. We don't want to do the team black, team red. We don't. I don't think we really wanted to go that route like the East to West where we had ten
Yeah, I like East to
conferences and ten
West.
conferences. Yeah, so we'll
Yeah.
keep it there. Only I know the new HBCU conference. We'll figure out what we want to do there. I'm pretty sure that's just going to end up being East. But we'll see because it's kind of like the tell you what, whatever conference the independents are not in,
Yeah.
they'll be on the other one. So
Yeah.
we'll look back. I'm pretty sure we had them in the East, and maybe we flip it, which would be weird. We have like a team like Stillman representing Team West, maybe, but whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, so that's how we're going to do the All Star. It's fun. I mean, look, obviously we're not playing an All Star game. Maybe 30 years from now, we're looking at doing that. But I don't think that's something on the national office's radar. Certainly not on ours. We're gonna have fun with it too. There will be other nominations on there. We're still kind of thinking about what we want to do. Uh, Obviously, home run derby is one thing. Again, this is all going to be fan nominated. One, we want to have fun too. It's really good engagement for us. So oh God, oh Carly, I'm about to die over here. All right, take over. Talk about my conference having a showdown. Coastal Georgia,
Yeah.
Southeastern.
Yeah, one of two certified bangers happening down in the Sun Conference this weekend. Coastal Georgia takes on Southeastern at 2 and 4 Eastern time. Taking a look into Coastal Georgia, they got Brooke Purdue hitting 318. She swiped 10 of 12 stolen bases. Riley Mills getting it done in both the circle and at the plate. At the plate, she's hitting a solid 355, eight doubles, and then she leads the team with 20 ribeye steaks in the circle. She's got 80 innings under her belt, throwing a 2.19 ERA with 28 strikeouts, and not too far behind her, putting up some shabby numbers. Emilia Clemens, she's got 55 innings under her belt, 40 strikeouts, and a 1.65 ERA. And then moving over to the Southeastern Fire, Chapel Cunningham leads the way. She's hitting 427, 35 hits, 14 RBIs, 23 of 25 for stolen bases. Rayleigh McKinney is hitting 410, six doubles, six home runs, and 29 RBIs. And looking through their lineup, they've only got two players hitting under 300, which is fearsome for defense and pitchers. Eden Playa is a 1.29 ERA. She's got 81 and a third innings under her belt, 51 strikeouts, 10 and 2 on the year. And then a solid Maria Zelenka behind her with a 1.11 ERA, 63 and a third innings pitched, and 46 strikeouts in her 10 and 1 record.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. Southeastern as obviously made their way up in the rankings. Coastal Georgia's made their way down in the rankings. These have been the two top dogs for the last half decade in the Sun Conference. It's always a thriller when they face down in Lakeland. I tell you, oh, Carly, oh man, I really want to be in Lakeland, Florida this weekend. I gotta tell you the
Hey,
truth.
me too.
Hey, I really want to be in Lakeland for this one. Also have a top 10 NAIA baseball matchup with Weber and Southeastern showing a little number 7 versus number 3 action there. Unfortunately, I got to be in South Carolina for a wedding, so woohoo.
Oh, brother.
We're so happy about it. We are so happy for the lovely couple. But sticking in the Sun Conference, Carly, St. Thomas, we're going to talk to Coach Gutierrez and Anna Toon here in just a
Yep.
minute, but they are definitely a team that I'm keeping an eye on for a little upset watch. They've got the Kaiser Seahawks coming into town. Kaiser finishing, let's see, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 30, 30, 30, 31. The number 31 right now. They are receiving some votes. They know each other really well. And I tell you, they're going to be a feisty team. Don't know if that
Hmm.
where they're really sitting and everything as far if you start really looking at large spots. They were just on the outside looking in last year. Best believe Coach John Pryor has drilled that into their heads and how big it would be if they were able to take two from the St. Thomas Bobcats. So they do it. They're going to need Faith Campos to get on base a lot and do what she does best and swipe bags, which she is top 10 in the country and 364 batting average, she's 27 for 27 perfect on swiping bags. Y'all are going to be talking about Genesis Iglesias next year as being one of the best shortstops in the country. Started talking about her last year. Defensively, she's still one of those players, makes a lot of the great plays, but then can kick it around a little bit over at shortstop. Like Carly, you were a shortstop, you know a thing or two about that, right?
Yeah, I kicked the ball around
It happens. But the
quite a few
sophomore,
times.
yeah, I mean the sophomore, she was a great freshman last year. She, and I would say in most conferences, Genesis Iglesias would have been the freshman of the year. She was just also a freshman the same year as Eden Playa and Riley Mills. So tough.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that will do it. But Iglesias is batting 361, 11 extra base hits, 27 RBIs. And St. Thomas doesn't have a ton of speed, but they can run. I'm going to be able to run against Kaiser. A very underrated gem in the NAI, Carly, is Kelsey Gansey, who we have not talked a ton about. Difference, but just different behind the plate. Best defensive catcher I have seen in the league this year. One of the best I've seen. Period. Just phenomenal. Phenomenal. Not with the bat in any stretch of the imagination, but I would kind of describe her as uh, a light Riley Donovan. There behind the plate.
Okay.
Now definitely. She ain't putting up Riley Donovan numbers at the plate. If
No.
she was, we're
And no
talking.
one is.
No, we're talking about something a whole another ball game. But defensively, she is one of the best catchers, blocking wise, framing wise, and then arm wise. I don't think it's close necessarily. She's got an absolute cannon, but behind the plate. Carly, let's talk about one of your
Mhm.
favorite matchups every single year: Midland Northwestern, 3 and 5 Central Time.
Yeah, these games always wind up to be crazy. I'm gonna assume that these will as well. Looking at Midland's side, led by Reese Floro, hitting 366. She's got 10 RBIs. Maddie Riling, the shortstop, 360 with 14 RBIs. And then how about transfer Camden Barrientos hitting 397, got 3 home runs and 16 RBIs. And then Peyton Kohler in the circle got a 2.45 ERA in 77 innings pitched with 68 strikeouts. And then looking at Northwestern, Gwen Mickelson is leading the way with them. Former player of the year, hitting 414, got 7 doubles. Team leading 28 RBIs. Chloe Gallegos not too far behind her in the RBI category. She's got 22, hitting 424. And speaking of RBIs, this team through and through in the lineup can produce a lot of runs. Almost all of them have 11 plus RBIs. In their stat line. And then in the circle, Kate Kralik is throwing 2.24 in 84 and a third innings pitch with 78 strikeouts for her.
We'll wrap up Friday with just another phenomenal 2 and 4 Mountain Time. So nice little evening game over here in or on the East Coast. British Columbia and College of Idaho. They play a double header. No, obviously for British Columbia, they are highlighted by their two pitchers. Carlene Murray having an All-American level year, 60 innings. She's got a .82 ERA with 65 strikeouts. Shea Seaver, a phenomenal number two for them, 50 strikeouts in 42 innings, 2.67 ERA. Obviously, Murray's on a different level with that sub one ERA, but both have K per sevens north of seven. Obviously with UBC, they can struggle to score a little bit. They're going to need big games from Caitlin Ing, who's batting 390, has four doubles, three triples, and 10 RBIs. And then Seaver can help her on calls. And Marion uh, Horgeson,
Marin.
yeah, they're both batting over 300 with a few extra base hits. But man, this College of Idaho lineup, it is terrifying. Carly, Haley Campbell batting 381, 18 RBIs. Madeline Powell batting 333, three homers, 14 RBIs. No Lolo Walker's name's obviously one that strikes fear in everybody's hearts. Cameron Hams 10 for 10 on swiping bags. They've got a ton more pop in that lineup. Abby Brooks has been leading them in the circle, 1.64 ERA. She's 6-0, 28 strikeouts in four and two-thirds innings. Obviously, this is nothing new for College of Idaho. They've been playing in big moments as a program all together. The huge four-game set, of course, Cascade. The first three count towards conference play. Looking on to Saturday, it's a lot of the same matchups. USAO and Oklahoma City play at 12 and 2 Central Time. Coastal Georgia and Southeastern will play their third game at noon. St. Thomas and Kaiser flipped it. They're just playing the one game Friday, and they're playing a doubleheader Saturday at 12 and 2. And then you will have British Columbia and College of Idaho at 11 and 1 Mountain Time. But Carly, before we talk about a big one in the crossroads with Marion and Indiana Wesleyan, we got to announce who's doing our team takeover on the social medias
Yeah,
this week.
yeah. We got Middle Georgia State. They're going to be doing our team takeover. They got a doubleheader at 12 and 2. They also play Tennessee Southern on Friday. But looking a little bit into Middle Georgia State, some names that you'll probably see and recognize on the field as well as on our social medias. Grace Avery is hitting 394. She's got 11 RBIs. Mel Bullock leading the way, hitting 344 with 20 RBIs. She leads the team in that category. Carmen Phillips is 12 of 13 in swiped bags. And then Madison Riggins got the most innings under her belt. She's thrown 78 and two-thirds, got 47 strikeouts and a 4.54 ERA. And then not too far behind her, Emily Proctor. She's thrown 51 and two-thirds innings. She's got 40 strikeouts and a 3.25 ERA.
No, not bad at all. But yeah, and look, I think Middle Georgia State is things obviously they've fallen out of the top 25. They got to get rolling here in conference play. They've got plenty of opportunities to get their way back in consideration. But Carly, we got a top 20 matchup in Indiana on Saturday, 1-3 Eastern. Indiana Wesleyan takes on Marion, a storied matchup when these two play in any sport. Two powerhouses always in that top 10 for the Directors Cup, and they're both in the top 20 of NAIA softball right now. Lily Went for the Knights, batting 517, has 25 RBIs, eight doubles. Abby Madre, who almost took the Triple Crown away from Sarah Giles last year in the RBI department's got 20 of them, 13 extra base hits, and is batting 464. They got two really good pitchers. We all know about Olivia Stunkel, great drop change. She has a 2.09 ERA, so a little bit higher than what we're used to seeing from her, but she's still got her strikeout numbers, 51 strikeouts in 50 and two-thirds innings. Macy Cohen has come on to be a really nice number two with Olivia, but Macy's got a better ERA at 1.83. For Indiana Wesleyan, Carly, they are 16 and 2. They are absolutely rolling. Two losses, one to IU South Bend, the other one to UM Dearborn, a heartbreaker there. But man, Morgan Yeater, she's leading the nation, batting 604 on the year. She's also 13 for 13 on swiping bags. And man, the top of this lineup so deadly. Carly Courtney Thomas batting 554. She's 7 for 10 on swiping bags as well. Then you have Whitney Waddell batting 477 with eight doubles on the year. She's 12 for 12 on stealing bases. Ton of speed, great defense, and I mean the pitching staff. We know about Jordan Ball.
Yeah,
ERA's
we
up.
know
She's
a
had
little bit.
yeah, we know a thing or two about her. Jordan Ball now her ERA's up. She's gotten hit. She's gotten hit. She has definitely gotten hit in a couple of games. But what I saw her again, the best lineup she's faced, St. Thomas. I saw her shut it down for 7 innings. I saw that with my own eyes, and so maybe you know, maybe I'm looking past that 2.33 ERA a little more than I should, but 54 innings. She's got 49 strikeouts, 12 walks on the year. Hey, she has been hit hard. She's given up 10 doubles and three home runs. But man, we were not sure who that number two really would be for them, but the combination of Isabella Bidisikas and Mulaney Clemens has been really solid. Clemens only thrown in 20 and a third innings, but she does have a .69 ERA, four walks, 23 strikeouts for Indiana Wesleyan. It's a really good team this year, Carly. Mount Mercy and Benedictine. So you see, I'm wearing my Heart shirt now. Y'all go over to the Heart of America YouTube, check out our in-depth preview of Mount Mercy and Benedictine as 1 and 3 Central Time. So we have a partnership with the Heart of America. We talked about this already. We did the media day. We're going to do the conference tournament. I'll be there doing live coverage. But during the year, as we now enter conference play, we will be picking Heart Series of the Week. It's Mount Mercy versus Benedictine. Carly, rolling over to the KCAC real quick. I want to have a conversation about the KCAC.
Yeah, hit me with it.
I think it's the most underrated conference in America, or in the NAI at least. The KCAC is the most underrated NAI softball conference this year. Evangel has gotten its respect by being put in the
Hmm.
top 25. Should they be higher? Yes, they should.
Yeah.
Well, we're done talking about that. You know what? Again, 1 week we come out with ours. We'll see where Carly and I and the Massey and a couple other people that we are adding on, but we're not going to reveal them until they feel like they want to be revealed. But my big one here, we talked about Bethany a pretty good bit, so I just want to focus on Friends because we all know last year your boy was drinking that Falcons Kool-Aid. I was
Yeah, you
I
were.
was I mean I was pounding the table. This is the team. This is it. They are going to surprise everybody. And I was wrong. I was wrong. I
Yeah.
was wrong. I've never been ashamed to admit I was wrong. I was right about Madonna though. But I my ego only lets me go
Had
so
to throw
far,
it in
Carly.
there.
Yeah, the ego only lets you go so far. But for Friends, Carly is starting to be a team that I kind of thought they would be last year. Becca Dunn's having another huge year, batting 458, 8 home runs, 28 RBIs. Cadence Magana batting 464, 21 RBIs. Riley Warts has been pitching some really, really good games, winning a couple of KCAC Pitcher of the Week. She's 8-3 with a 2.44 ERA. I'm starting to believe in the Falcons again. I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid like I did last year on them, but I do think there are a couple of KCAC teams, them and Evangel, that can make some noise in opening round play. And I'm not going to forget about Oklahoma Wesleyan. I'm not going to forget about Avila, who can always be dangerous in the postseason with
Hmm.
Charlie Kennedy. St. Mary is much better. The Kansas one, I know we got like four of them in the NAI, but the Kansas one is doing solid. And Ottawa, I think Ottawa's overachieving. They
Ottawa,
picked up.
yeah.
I mean, they beat OLLU.
Yeah.
They beat OLLU. Got
Yeah.
one against Benedictine. No, Ottawa's good. Obviously weren't sure what they were going to look like after the Jay Kent era, but they're fine. KCAC massively underrated conference right now. Keeping an eye on what happens there with Bethany and Friends because obviously we know Bethany can swing the bat really well. Sunday, Carly, not a whole lot, but we got some good Heart of America matchups to wrap up the weekend.
Yeah. Mount Mercy takes on Baker at 1 and 3 Central Time. And then Clark and Benedictine will take on each other at 1 and 3. So, couple of matchups there to wrap up our weekend. And
Sure. You guys have stuff on Baker. I know obviously we're going
yeah,
to be, but yeah, tell us a little bit about Baker. We have not talked about our friends
yeah, it's
ball
been a
in
little bit.
yet.
We haven't talked about
Yeah,
Baker
so
few weeks. So They're led by Riley Phillips. She's hitting 375 with 3 home runs. Leads the team with 12 RBIs. Savannah Bray getting it done as well, not too far behind her with 10 RBIs. Ava Gaynor, the freshman, um, putting up some solid numbers in her debut. She's hitting 349 with 11 swiped bags. And then we all know her, Kira Baker in the circle. 49 innings under her belt. She's got 45 strikeouts and a 2.57 ERA.
All right, folks, we got some great NAI softball. Carly, let's not keep the folks any longer. Great interview. Here it
Yep.
is. It is head coach for St. Thomas, JC Gutierrez, and one of the best players in NAI softball, Anna Toon. Okay, we now welcome on two very special guests from my neck of the woods down here in the Sunshine States, all the way down in Miami Gardens. It is Coach JC Gutierrez and Senior Anna Toon. Coach Gutierrez, how we doing today, boss man?
Man, we're doing fantastic.
Awesome, man,
Doing
and
fantastic.
great to have you and Anna on. Coach, first question to you. Y'all took some tough losses in Melbourne to some teams from up in Indiana, two quality teams, one team in Bethel, a big upset win against y'all. But it's safe to say y'all have learned from that. Talk to us about how taking some of those lumps in the preseason have helped you as we get into some conference play.
Well, every team is different. That's what you learn from taking a couple of losses like that. The success that we had last year doesn't guarantee success this year. So we have to learn how to play together again. Almost this is the beginning of the season, and listen, we lost against two quality opponents, and it's a spring games. You play every day. It's tough. When you play every single day, it's very easy to lose. And there were a lot of quality teams in there, right? So what I learned is last year team is last year team, this year's team is this year team, and we'll have to find ways how to recover and learn how to play together. Not again, I would say remember what makes it successful.
Well, Anna, y'all bounced back in a big way really well at the start of Sun Conference play. Y'all rattled off 8 straight wins. Y'all start the Sun Conference off 6-0, handling business against Weber International. And then in a big series, we remember it last year in the regular season. It was one of the great finales of the NAI softball season. You get your revenge in the conference tournament, heading back up to Brunswick to face the Mariners for the first time. You win 3 great ball games, one by 1 run, one by 2, another by 3. And talk to us about how the Bobcat program has flipped this switch now that Sun Conference play has kicked off.
Yeah, for sure. We have a lot of upperclassmen on this team, and we all know like the thrill of playing conference. We know it's like a different part of the season, just like the spring games is a different part of the season. And we knew starting off playing against Weber that like that's the start of conference and it's a completely different season. And every game matters, and you have to take it for what it is. And so I think we're just aware of that, and we're really excited for conference play.
Yeah, and Carly, we talked about it on the last episode with your rivalries with Northwestern and Morningside. When it gets to conference
Hmm.
play, just it kicks up that next level a little bit.
Yeah. And then like kind of going off of that, what do you think sets this team apart, from last season and other teams this season in the Sun Conference? And how are you guys kind of building towards success this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think right off the bat, like we have a lot of experience on this team. We have a lot of depth. We have a ton of girls that can come off the bench and can contribute. And then we just have a ton of good energy as well. People who want to win, building off of last season was huge for us, but I think we know it's a new season and we're just looking forward to the postseason play, conference, like I mentioned. Like it's all part of the like the fun of college softball. So we have a lot of girls that are kind of like, taking it in. Obviously, it's our last season, and so we're just trying to have a good time and win some games.
Yeah, what everyone wants.
Right.
And coach, you're coming off your best Sun Conference season so far since you've taken over. You won the tournament, you made a huge run in Klamath Falls. What are some of the expectations and standards set for this season?
The expectations or the standards are always the same for our team. We play against us, right? You try to be the best that you could be as a unit, as a team, as an individual. We really play well that way. We have a group of girls that understand this now, and they do it very well. We play best when we try to be the best version of ourselves. And listen, you win well, you win lose, and they beat you at times, right? So we always try to, play well. And even they beat you or you beat the other team, we'll go to sleep satisfied. So it's really the standards have been the same since day one. We don't have an opponent, we play softball to our best ability. And if we win, we're happy. If we lose, even if we lose the game, well, we did our best. What else is there? So it's really that's how we do it here.
Coach, I just want to continue on that opening round there. Klamath Falls have obviously a storied program. Oregon Tech's been to the last five World Series champion coach there, and Greg Stewart. Now, obviously, we're going to get into your history. The NAIA postseason's not a new experience for you with baseball. Again, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But for your program specifically with St. Thomas softball, how valuable were those games, getting some key wins to Bobcat softball history in Oregon last year?
I think it was, you know, the start of something. I was very eager to make it to the opening round. I want to see the competition. I want to believe, and be convinced how good I believe we were as far as talent. It was like the next step. Okay, I know we could play with very good teams in our conference. Let's see what's out there. I didn't know. I'm still a rookie. I haven't passed that as a softball coach. Very different than maybe in the other sport that I did before. So it was pleasant to me to see our team compete against highly ranked teams in the nation at the time.
Yeah, Coach, looking at the success for last year, there could have been a lot of seniors in your program who could have hung their hats up on winning the Sun Conference tournament and making the run, being one of the last few teams actually playing NAIA softball. So some of those names like Natalie Kopikova, Bianca Palacios, Gabby Gilbert, they've returned back for their graduate year. Talk to us about the impact those players have had in building up your program and why they decided to return back to finish a job and get to the final site in Columbus this year.
Reagan, they are our program. They really are. You mentioned players that were here before I took the job, and the other ones that I put faith on them that they will come and help us win. And why they came back, I'm not sure, but they have made my life happy and easier. And I mean this. They like each other. I believe that we have a good team here as a group. We agree to disagree. We like each other. We practice being, kind. I talk about the golden rule once in a while, and they're competitive. They're not only good kids. They compete. They don't like to lose. They want to win in everything they do, like I told you before. And I think that a little bit of everything. And the other stuff is, softball. What else it is? We play for something. We don't have a draft. We don't have anything. So, I wish that I'm answering your question because everything that I have telling you, I believe I've added to them wanting to come back and do one more year.
No, I think you answered the question really well. I mean, I've had the privilege of being around, being in y'all's dugout for a handful of those games over in Melbourne. And Carly, I'll tell you, it's the energy. It's kind of similar to that Midland dugout in 23, kind of that crazy energy. But the biggest thing is there's definitely a togetherness. There's no like separate groups or anything. There's definitely a togetherness there in the dugout for St. Thomas.
And Anna, you were one that started your career somewhere else. You started at Montana, wound up at College of Central Florida, and then ultimately found your home in St. Thomas. Can you explain a little bit about what brought you to that decision and how you wound up there?
Yeah, my college experience has been like a little unique. I was at Montana for 2 years academically, but I only played there a year and a half. So I saved that extra year of eligibility because I knew I was going to transfer. And then I went to College of Central Florida through a connection with like an old travel ball teammate. And then my plan was to go there, for 1 year and try to like really just fall in love with softball again and play a good year and then see kind of where life took me. And then I had two offers coming out of there, St. Thomas and Eckerd, and I was really excited about what JC was building down here. And he sold me. So yeah, I was very, very excited to come to St. Thomas. I had never been down to South Florida before. I committed without, seeing the campus and whatnot. And so really, really grateful I ended up here.
Did the weather play a little bit of a part in that too? Warm
It
weather?
did. Yeah, absolutely. I knew that leaving Central Florida, I was so I wanted to stay in Florida so bad. So I was like ecstatic that I got an offer from a school in Miami.
Getting to play in the Sun Conference, and like I've been out to St. Thomas's campus many a times. The times I've gone for coverage, it's been great. The times I've gone there to play on football, I've not had the best time. But still, it is an awesome campus, and it's something we talked a little bit about during one of y'all's games. It's something I want to discuss now. So you've been a student athlete and have had a good bit of success at Division I, junior college, and the NAI level. Can you share your experience with playing at the three very different levels, specifically Division I and NAI? We know the ultimate role of JUCO is to get you back into a 4 year school, but talk to us about your experience and difference with Division I and NAI and the advantages that you believe in with being a NAI student athlete.
Yeah, for sure. I've been lucky enough to play at the three different levels, and each of them were distinctly different. At my first school, which was a mid-major D1, it was very competitive. I would say like the biggest difference between my junior college and Division I experience would be like sort of like our schedule. The amount of hours that you're committing at the D1 was just like, for my particular situation, it was a heavy schedule. So we had the 6 a.m. weights like 4 days a week, and then four and a half hour, 5 hour practices and whatnot. And then JUCO was a little bit more laid back, had a little bit more free time. And then here at NAI, I really enjoyed it because it's been a great balance of both. It's kind of like if you take the competitive level of the D1 and JUCO is extremely competitive too, of course, but take that level and then just good work-life balance, honestly. Like we're able to go to the beach on our off days and hang out with each other, and then also like go to work and have good hard practices. So it's good because there's balance.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to hear. You mentioning the balance is something. I play at Division II. I've talked to people that play D1 baseball, football, softball, and they've had kind of a similar response. Of there is that balance. It's funny. You mentioned the beach, especially Carly. You were just talking about y'all have a blizzard rolling into Omaha tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking it must be nice to go to the beach on the off day. I'm landlocked in a state that's 70 degrees today and blizzard warning tomorrow. So,
I feel for you, Carly.
yeah, you get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Coach,
Just
we're
not
good
right
right
now.
here. We're Florida guys, and we are more than comfortable with staying right down here in the peninsula, right, man?
I agree. I remember like it's right now. They gave me a hint when I was calling about Anna. She likes the sun. So, oh, we got her. I got that. It was really good.
I grew up in the Midwest, so I should have known that I would do better in the sunshine than in like the negative weather. Uh,
Yeah, it's brutal.
it is. Yeah.
But coach, you kind of jumping back on track, you coached baseball at St. Thomas for almost 14 years. We kind of touched a little bit on it before we started recording, but what brought you to take on the head coaching position? And What have you come to know and love about softball so far?
What brought me to softball? I really still don't know how I got to get the job. It was in a mix of the university trying to find a head coach that would bring stability. They were really trying to do it well, and they interviewed several candidates that were qualified. In my opinion, at the time, I was even part of the search. And all of a sudden, they point at me and they said, "Why not you? You've been the associate head coach for a long time. You know everything here." And I went back home. I spoke to my wife, and we agreed that was something that I could do. Now, the second question is when I started doing it, I would never know how much I would love it, and it's a combination of many things. I know nothing, so they're eager to learn. Now, the when I start working with the players, I have two daughters. I have daughters, so it's not new for me. But how hard they work, it's a little bit different on the intensity, and the fact that they have something to play for every year. After college softball, really, there's nothing else that we have, and I feel that that there was something always in college, right? That after this there was nothing else, and I believe that's one of the reasons why we play so hard, and we get so connected to each other. Where I'm not saying anything about baseball, but there's so much more after college, and sometimes that makes me and make us that play a little bit complacent. Well, but no, they what they give you, how much they care, how to organize, and how much they follow instructions in the simple things. I love it, and I just don't mind being around the girls, and the more I do it, the more I like it.
No, that's awesome, man. We've had this conversation before, Coach, but when I first started getting into covering it, I was that same way. It's not really sure a whole lot about the sport, but as you and I, you a baseball coach for many years, me just working with baseball and being a baseball fan all my life, it's all we had known. Then we get around this great sport, the inner something you didn't even mention that I think a lot of people that come from the baseball world to softball, is the pace of play and the speed of the game. That becomes such an afterthought. It's something that gets a lot of people in it at first, but it becomes such an afterthought when you start mentioning what you just mentioned, the attention to detail, the little things in the game, and then most importantly, the energy that the players bring. It's unmatched from any sport that I've covered, and I've covered about every sport that the Sun Conference has to offer. There's just a different level of energy, and not just Sun Conference softball, but in all of NAIA and across all of college softball. I mean, you go to any Division I game, especially now with the way it's growing at that level, with SEC games and you thousands of people, and then the energy that the crowds bring, and opening rounds, and to the World Series, the NAI level, it's incredible. But Coach, one crowd that hopefully we get to eventually in NAI softball is the NAI baseball final site there in Lewiston. For those listening that don't know, as we mentioned, long time assistant coach and associate head coach for St. Thomas, including 2 times making it being one of the final 2 teams playing in Lewiston. Talk to us about the experience of playing in Lewiston in those big games down the nitty gritty, coaches. I truly think Lewiston is one of the best things that NAI has going. It is an incredible city, an incredible event. I hope one day we have something similar for NAI softball.
I hope the same, and the experience that it's addictive. That's the way I describe it. Once I don't care what level of baseball you play before. Once you make it to Idaho, you get addicted to it. They do it better than anybody else. Whatever you want to say about it, the advantage, the disadvantage, once you are there, you appreciate what they do for NAIA baseball, right? The logistics, the partner with the families, the giving back to the community the first 2 days, with the kids clinics and everything else. The setup that they have is fantastic. That city goes blank, and it's just baseball, for the entire tournament. I hope, right, that we get there one day, and I have to experience first softball, right? But it is addictive, Regan. Once you go there, you want to come back, and you want to come back, and it's fantastic. So that's what I could tell you about, the NAIA World Series in baseball and Lewis and Clark specifically.
Well, Coach, I look at it. I look at what what we just did last month in Shawnee, and I look at what they're building there. They're about to have the 4,000 seat stadium there. Now, Shawnee doesn't have a team, but you have USAO, Oklahoma City, Mid American Christian, Southwestern, where you have a lot of NAIA teams right there. And Oklahoma City and Science and Arts are 9 times out of 10, both those teams are going to be the final side, anyways. I look at that as a possible destination for it. With what they're doing at Fire Lake, and we're bringing the NAIA SB Invitational back there next year. And I would like to think, maybe in a couple of years after running the NAIA SB Invitational, if we do end up keeping it in Shawnee, maybe we build up a fan base there. Now, me being a Georgia guy, and with it being 45 minutes away from my parents' house, and easy travel for me, I'm never going to root for it to get out of Columbus. But if that day does come, I would be interested in throwing Shawnee's hat in the ring. That's my last little wink, wink, nod, nod at the national office for this episode. But Coach, let's bring it back and let's talk about the conference you and I love so much, the Sun Conference. Look, man, we know what Sun Conference baseball is, and how it's represented at the NAI level. For softball fans listening, Sun Conference softball is often compared, or Sun Conference baseball is often compared to Cascade Conference softball. Always a couple teams in the top 10, multiple teams in the top 25. But Sun Conference softball is absolutely no slouch, Coach. It's been a couple years since we've had a team at the final site. I truly believe this is the best year it's been since we had 2 teams at the final site in Weber International and Southeastern. So, Coach, talk to us about how competitive the Sun Conference is, especially this year.
Now I feel like I'm qualified somehow to talk about, the Sun Conference softball. I've been competing for 3-4 years. I've been able to experience, position plays and play other opponents from another conference, and the conference is very competitive. There's nothing like conference play. Obviously, we have the standards of the conference for the past 3-4 years. Weber once, Southeastern, Coastal, but there's other teams now that continue to improve. The St.Thomas have gotten better. Cal City's it's always been very competitive. The past 2 years, I think they're very, very good. They're very talented, and every year no one goes undefeated. You don't see that in the Sun Conference, so that tells you that there's other teams there, that are capable of beating anyone in the conference. I forgot last time a team ran the table. I see that happening in other conference. I'm not taking away from the top teams. I'm talking about in general. I believe that we finally getting more appreciation, from other teams. I have to thank Victor for bringing the spring games to, Space Coast, and now we have other teams for other conference, and then you could see how things for the Sun Conference go there, and they do well. They beat, teams, and they get beat by other opponents, but they don't go there and lose every game. So I agree with you that this year in particular is going to be tough. It's going to be tough in conference play.
I think there's 2 World Series teams in our conference. I truly believe. Let me rephrase. I think there's two top 15 teams. So I think there's a 1 seed, and whoever wins the conference, I think has a legit case to be a 1 seed. And if it comes down to the way I think it's going right now with y'all in Southeastern, I think are the 2 top teams. But you can't forget about Coastal Georgia. You can't forget about Kaiser. I think those are solid opening round teams. I think we've got at least 3, probably 4 with the expanded tournament teams, and 2 teams that I will not be shocked at all if they end up in Columbus with y'all in Southeastern. I cannot wait for Carly. I cannot freaking wait for that series for a little St. Thomas Southeastern. I'm so hype for it. And I want to ask you about a specific coach on staff, your pitching coach, Erica Winter. Talk to us about how she's helped you develop into one of the top pitchers in NAI softball.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Erica, she is like one of the best when it comes to pitching coaches. She played not too long ago, so she's very in touch with, the latest and the greatest pitching philosophies and drills and techniques and whatnot. And she cares so much. She does a lot of scouting for us, puts together incredible scouting reports so that we feel prepared going into every game. She cares about, us physically and mentally. She makes sure that we're conditioned and makes sure that we're mentally strong so that when we're in tight ball games, pressure situations, that we can pull through, because that's her expectations. And she runs our bullpens as good as any. And she treats us like just like we're, Division I pitchers. She doesn't make it easy or anything. Like she takes a lot of pride in just doing a really good job with our entire staff. And there's a lot of communication between her and the pitching staff and the catchers as well. Emma Encarnacion behind the plate, she does a great job communicating with me and with Coach Erica. And together, it's a lot of fun, and they make it really easy for me because they do a lot of the thinking.
I think if we were to mic up one player in NAI softball, Carly, it might be Emma, the catcher for St. Thomas. She's funny. She
I was
is
gonna say, it
funny.
sounds like she's got a lot to say.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't want you to give away any of the secret sauce or anything, but you mentioned some of the philosophies that Coach Winter has brought in to help you. Could you mention one of those for us?
Um, yeah, so we like to work with this thing called 32, which is just attacking the zone early and taking care of like two strikes out of three pitches. So we're really just trying to make quality pitches, have tight spin, make speeds, pretty basic stuff. And a lot of it just comes down to like working hard and attacking the zone and trusting your pitches, and she takes care of a lot of the logistics on her side. So yeah, she does a great job.
Yeah, Coach Gutierrez, man, that's got to be something. Coming with the baseball background, especially or having a pitching coach like that, it's got to be huge for you to have on your staff.
That's everything. That is everything. We are blessed to have Erika. We wouldn't be here if she was not around. That is a fact, you know. So again, teaching a difference. I do
Absolutely.
nothing. She calls games, she prepares, we work together in everything. The philosophy was put together with her and the stuff that we brought from baseball. And because that was all is mental, but what she does in the bullpen and the standard that she, holds for these girls are really it. And then you run into talented individuals that wants to do well. That's why.
And Anna, kind of jumping back to when we talked about your experience with multiple schools and divisions, is there any piece of advice that you would give younger you and other girls that are possibly listening? Sorry, I messed up. What piece of advice would you give younger you and other girls for when it comes time to look at colleges?
Yeah, definitely. When I committed to Montana, I was 16, a junior in high school, and at that time, like I didn't necessarily know exactly what I wanted. Still really don't, but specifically at that time, I went on my visit. I saw the facilities. I saw close to home, all that good stuff. And at that time is everything I thought I wanted. And I think just looking back, I wouldn't change a thing, because I ended up exactly where I was meant to be. But I think advice I would give is I work with girls back home in my hometown. I give pitching lessons, and every once in a while, like I get to help them through the recruiting process and give them some advice. And I usually just tell them, try to find the school that really wants you. I think I wanted, or I ended up going where I really wanted to go. But I did have a lot of schools that were like a little bit more interested in me, probably, in hindsight. And yeah, just go where you're wanted, go where you're needed, where you're, valued.
And you mentioned not really knowing yet kind of what you want. Is that in relation to major? Like, what's your major, and do you have any plans post college?
Oh yeah, so my major is sports administration. And then for post-college plans, I don't have anything specific. As of right now, I think I'm going to Puerto Rico to play in a summer league this summer. Um, but who knows, plans change. So
Puerto Rico.
yeah, I might do that, or I've just been considering a couple different options. Might go back to Montana and live for a while. I'm not sure.
Listen, my experience is whatever she does, she's a lead at it. She's a great student. She's a great friend. Like, take my word. She's good in whatever she does. So whatever she decides to do, she's gonna be okay. That
Yeah.
I
We've
guarantee.
seen her on the field.
You know,
And then last one, always our fun one that we like to ask at the end of the show here. Either one of you can go first. What's your go-to gas station order?
chocolate square.
Any kind or
No, no, chocolate twice. Chocolate milk and donuts.
I remember that from the Sun Conference Media Day, Coach. I knew it was coming, man.
Chocolate square, baby.
chocolate milk is fire?
Yeah.
Tuna,
And
what
what
are
we
you like in
rocking
the gas
with?
station?
Oh gosh, gas station food. I probably have to go with like some cookie dough Dippin' Dots and maybe like a Dr.
Mm,
Pepper.
Fountain
Yes.
or bottled?
What's that?
Fountain or bottled?
Probably bottle.
Mm,
Ah,
people are
that's a good.
picky.
Look, it's the 23 bold flavors. You cannot go wrong with it. It is the best, the best. So respect there, and Coach, keep doing the chocolate squared. It's obviously working for you. Yeah, no. Other than that, Coach, really appreciate your time, Anna. Thank you also for coming on, and thank you for me. Just thank you. Y'all been super cool. Let me hang out in the dugout and everything over at Space Coast. Got to make it down to Miami Gardens. Like I said, when I go to Miami Gardens for coverage, I enjoy it. When I go there for football, I'm usually not too happy when it's all said and done. But no, man, you're doing a great job, Coach. It's been really fun watching you from afar. First with Suncast back in 22, and now to where you're at a top 25 program representing the Sun Conference really, really well. We're proud of you. If y'all have anything else, Mike's all yours. If not, we'll go ahead and send the folks into a action-packed weekend of NAIA softball.
Hey, thank you for having us, Carly. Reagan, thank you for what you're doing for the NAIA softball. I appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you
So,
guys. We appreciate it too.
absolutely. Thank y'all both so much. And thank you all for listening. Great episode. Obviously, we've done the previews and everything. Great interview to send y'all into the weekend. Boy, we got some good ones. Coach Anna, good luck. Y'all got a big one with your South Florida rivals in Kaiser. Also in the Sun Conference, Coastal Georgia taking on Southeastern in Lakeland. We've got Marion and Indiana Wesleyan in the Crossroads, USAO in Oklahoma City, in the Sooner, and out in the Pacific Northwest, British Columbia and College of Idaho. It's wall to wall. Great NAIA softball this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check it out, and we'll be back on Monday morning with a recap of all those games and a midweek preview. Thanks, and y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.